I'm a Kern with the Go Gators.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Destrehan, Louisiana. Hold on a second.
Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff and you know what they mean, but you know, it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today, Tyler, it is episode 2 of season 5. The intro is in our ears once again. What'd you think of the intro, Tyler? Because I made it after we recorded episode 1.
I like it. I was very pleasantly surprised because told me what your plan was, and I was just like, that could be anything. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out.
I love the trust that you have in me where your thought was that could be anything, but you still trusted me enough to go through with it.
Oh, for sure.
Do you have a favorite drop? Because I have one.
I don't have a favorite drop. I can't. I maybe I'll need to listen to it again and be really think about it. I don't have a favorite yet, though.
Tyler, you got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me.
No, yeah, that's the best one.
Feelings.
That's the
Come
best
on,
one.
Gus Johnson, baby, Gus Johnson. It's a shame Gus Johnson only calls the 12 o'clock Fox games.
For sure.
That man needs to be primetime. That man needs to be
Gus
primetime.
Johnson. I'm so excited to hear his voice again.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize how much I miss college football.
We miss college football. But we'll talk about that, Tyler, in the next episode about how much we love college football. For now, Tyler, we are going to quickly go through our group of 5 conference questions, similar formats what we did last time with our Power 5 conference questions. Before we do that, though, we do have a bit of a schedule announcement. Given that Tyler is what I will be referring to sometimes as Hollywood Tyler, living out on the West Coast, working on Redacted and hopefully working on Redacted 2 in the future. All the shows you work on or movies, we're just going to refer to them as Redacted, whatever number it is.
Okay, yeah.
Just so
that'll be good for me to remember to keep in mind how many shows I've worked on.
There we go. So hopefully in a year, it's Tyler can't be here today. He's working on Redacted 12.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh no. So because Tyler is out there,
it's also going to be really funny because the current show is very much worth the Redacted.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to keep the Redacted, even though some shows might not be worth the Redacted.
Tyler might be tweeting about shows in the future that I will be referring to as Redacted, but we don't have to. I just want everyone to know that. Because Tyler's out there working on all of the Redacted shows, we are still doing 2 episodes a week during the football season. We will have our review episode where we recap and take a look at what happened in college football the previous Saturday. And in this first week's case, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because we have an extended week, that will be coming early in the week. We cannot commit in good faith to a specific day each week because of Tyler's schedule, because of the way that life is going. But we would rather put out content than not put out content at all. So
absolutely,
we will have our review episodes earlier in the week, shooting for Monday, Tuesday, and our preview episodes will be later in the week, shooting for Thursday and Friday. So you will be getting 2 episodes. It's just a matter of when they come in. It does not take me that long to edit. So once we record them, they will be up the following morning of when we record. So just so you know, Tyler, starting with our next episode, it's the return of 5 wide and 2 point.
Oh, yes.
It's 5 wide and 2 point, for those of you that are new, is Sideline Judgment's official season-long picks competition. Tyler and I, we get into it. We pick 5 games each week that we believe to be the biggest games of the week, where if you can only watch a couple of games, pick from that 5. Pick from that list of 5. And we predict to see whose wins and so on. For each correct prediction that one of us gets, we get 1 point. And then we're allowed to do a 2-point conversion, right? So our 2-point conversion allows us to pick a game that is not amongst the 5. We don't tell each other beforehand. We don't have the conversations. We don't communicate. And on the air, we reveal to each other what that 2-point game is. That is worth, as you thought, as you lovely listeners can deduce, 2 points. We then tally up the points throughout the entire season, and we end up seeing who has the most points at the end of the season. The winner is allowed to put a sense of pride into their Twitter bio saying such and such is better than such and such at picking certain games. So Tyler,
I
just
wouldn't know
went out
anything
there.
about this.
No, you wouldn't know anything about this. Jeez, I think Tyler is the defending champion this year.
No.
So that will be coming back next week with all of our review and preview episodes. And we have an announcement to make, Tyler. We will be launching the Sideline Judgment weekly newsletter. That's right.
Yeah.
I am activating my
Emails,
fingers.
baby. You can't
Emails,
get rid
baby.
of us.
You can sign up. Details will be coming soon. They will not be coming for the first week because I have recently moved to the state of Florida. I am back.
He's back.
And I am back.
Right as I left.
Right as Tyler left. I sent him a picture of Jacksonville as I was driving. Pretty dangerously, might I say.
I've taken that exact picture before that you took. Yeah. It's very dangerous. I would not recommend people do it.
But also,
it's a great picture.
You knew where you were going. I had my GPS on, and I was like, "Do I have to? No, okay. Are you sure it's 6 more miles? Because I could. Okay, cool. If my mom's listening to this, that none of that happened. That was all allegedly. All allegedly. The weekly newsletter will be in there. It'll be some guest articles, maybe written. We'll be talking about what happened in the world of college football. The napkin will be making an appearance over there. Cool. And Tyler, on October 15th in the great state of Florida, I think I can drop the allegedly tag.
Oh yeah.
I can.
R.
I can drop the allegedly tag. So
there
will be some gambling information in there, college football news, all of it, opinion pieces. I have some friends that would like to do some writing. It'll be a space for them to write. Details will be coming soon. Keep an eye on our Twitter. Keep an eye right here on the podcast feed where all that stuff can be found. Whew, Tyler, that was a lot of housekeeping that we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's done, I want to jump into the group of 5 because
of course you do.
Thank you. I am the defender of the group of 5. All right?
Yeah. Look, this yin and yang here. I don't actually hate the group of 5, but I have to be
for the
counter to Sergio, or else it'll just we can't have too many of one or the other.
Oh yeah, of course. And honestly, right now I have the rerun of Nebraska, Illinois in the background, so it's basically a group of 5 game. Woo! Here we go. We'll talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, on the next episode.
It's an alliance game.
It's an alliance qualification game.
Bring back. We've been saying it for years. Introduce promotion and relegation into college football.
And I've been saying, and my response to you has been, if we get promotion relegation in college football before American soccer, I might have to do some things to some people. So, allegedly. Let's start with the American, Tyler. We do these in alphabetical order, so no one don't get mad because the American, whatever, Power 6, all that stuff. The American Conference, Tyler. These are simple questions, and I'm going to start with the big boy of the questions. I'm not going to ask you if a group of 5 team can make the playoff because I don't think as a whole the group of 5 can make a playoff. Specifically, is Cincinnati a legitimate playoff contender?
I say yes. I will say yes in just the fact it's very hard, but there is a way that it can happen.
Okay, so so then I think the key word in that sentence is legit. Because it's possible. I believe you. It's possible. They finished 8th last year. They're ranked in the top 10 to start the season. Their only loss was to Georgia, where they probably should have beat Georgia if we go back and watch that game. And it's a good game and a de facto home game. So I think they can hang. But are they legit, though?
It's tough because it's one of those cases, I think I've talked about this before, where Cincinnati will probably benefit from a thing that would piss off a lot of UCF fans, and rightfully so, in the sense that UCF was the first to be that level of a group of 5 team in this era, and they are probably the best one that's come since then.
2017, you mean?
Yeah, the 2017 team was probably the best Group of 5 team still to this day since that team. This last year's Cincinnati team was debatably better, in my opinion. I think that 2017 UCF team would probably beat them.
I think so too, because and that's the thing where when you do those kind of examples, and we're both not big fans of those, 2017 this versus 2020 this, because the game changes, things are different.
Oh yeah.
But when you take Mackenzie Milton before he got hurt, Scott Frost firing on all cylinders at UCF, it was good. That defense was really good. I think I'm with you. I think I would take 2017 UCF.
The point of that being is that Cincinnati is going to benefit from where other teams before them got screwed. Is Correct. The sense that Cincinnati, well, maybe not better than that UCF team, gets the benefit of, we've had several years of every year a Group of 5 team getting to one Group of 5 team standing above the rest. And this year, Cincinnati at least gives the look of what a Power 5. Cincinnati has the physicality and the look of what a Power 5 playoff contender would have. They play with the style that other Power 5 contenders would have.
And they dominate the teams at their level the way that the Ohio States and Clemsons do at their level.
So in a way, they have more of a shot than other Group of 5 teams just because of they're benefiting from where other teams got screwed. Or every team, every Group of 5 team that got screwed up to this point did advance the ladder just a little bit. And then Cincinnati might be actually the one able to climb it. But at the same time, I'm going to say no, because we're in a 4-team playoff system. And I just find it's going to be really hard for Cincinnati to beat 4 other Power 5 teams to get into the playoff. I think
if this was the 12 team, I think they're a lock.
Oh, they're a lock.
I think
absolutely.
They're a lock. Because
I mean, it's possible, but then we really get into the conversation of, is possible the same as legitimate, contending? Is
possible the same as realistic?
Yeah. It's not realistic to expect Cincinnati to get into the playoff. Possible? Very much so. It's not possible for most Group of 5 teams to get in the playoff. There's just no way it's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's possible for Cincinnati. This is possible for a lot of other teams, but it's not realistic.
I agree. And I don't have anything to add to that.
On it.
I would not. I allegedly, up until October 14th, I would not bet on it. And starting on October 15th, I actually wouldn't bet on it. I actually would not bet on it. All right, let's move forward then. I like that answer. I like that. Second question. What will UCF look like under Gus Malzahn in year 1?
That's a good question. I think
that's a fun question.
I think UCF is going to look good. They're going to look fine. They're going to run a Gus Malzahn gimmicky offense, but they have better talent than everybody they're going to face. So maybe except for their first game. But then they've got a benefit in that they're playing a new coach in their first game against Boise State. Right. So I think the Gus Malzahn offense will probably work really well at UCF's level with Dillon Gabriel as the quarterback and in that level of talent.
I think there's something to be said, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Tyler, but going with, we talk a lot about last year, good Bo Nix, right? Bo Nix showed those good flashes. I objectively think that, have your opinions on the collective Dillon Gabriel opinions, to put those aside, he's been more consistent.
Oh, for sure. Dillon Gabriel's a better quarterback than Bo Nix.
I think the floor is higher relative to conference, obviously. The floor is higher at UCF in the American than it was Gus Malzahn with Bo Nix at Auburn. Even though the ceiling may have been higher, I think the floor is higher here at UCF. And because of that, I agree with you. I think the offense is going to move. I think with some of the transfers that have come in on the defensive side of the ball, guys like Big Cat Brian, who's followed him over, we know that he's going to be able to do some positive things. I think it's going to be fun. I really do. I think the offense is going to move, and it's going to be enjoyable.
I think the biggest thing for Gus Malzahn is that Dillon Gabriel is developed enough as a quarterback before Gus Malzahn even touched him. Because Gus Malzahn cannot develop a quarterback, but anytime he just gets a quarterback that's good, it works out.
I'm with you.
So Dillon Gabriel is past the point of being broken.
Yep.
I'm going to knock on wood as I say that. But I think UCF will be fun. I think the offense will be more fun than I think the Josh Heupel offense, which was productive, but to me was just very the same thing over and over again.
Well, the Josh Heupel offense is it's sensory overload, right? There's like so many. It's just a lot. And
it's too much.
Gus's is a bit more toned down. It's a bit more. It's easier to digest in that sense.
Yeah.
So
it's very gimmicky, but I feel like at that level, with that level of speed, it could work and be really fun. Like
I agree.
At UCF, Gus Malzahn's offense can be what Gus Malzahn's offense wants it to be. Like
right. And I think it's important that we kind of mention real quick. We're not going to talk about it in 5 wide in the preview episode. So UCF Boise, it's a Thursday night kickoff. It's not the first game of the season because that's of week 1, but because that's UAB and Jacksonville State, I believe, on Wednesday night. But it's the first like big game with big teams. Boise's going to Orlando, and as someone who stood in line at the DMV this morning for a couple of hours in the hot sun, is going to play a factor for these kids from Boise, Idaho. Okay, so I expect UCF to get off on a strong foot, and hopefully they can contend with Cincinnati so it can be a bit more of an enjoyable race in that conference rather than just like, oh, Cincinnati's ahead. And because of the national narrative around Group of 5 conferences, no one really pays attention to what's happening in the middle of the pack in a conference like the American or CUSA or all the other ones. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm excited for Gus as well. Last question for the American. Can Dana Holgorsen have a breakout year at Houston? He's going into his 3rd season. His first one was the year where De'Ara King and the other guys said, yeah, nah, I'm going to head out. And then his second season was COVID. So it's been a bit hard to judge, right? Get a good idea of what that program is going to be under his leadership. He was really good at West Virginia. He left an arguably better situation to take on Houston. But then again, Houston is a big university. And while they play in the American, they are a major market. They are the school in Houston. Texas A&M fans are fighting me right now, but that's okay. There's possibilities there. You know what I mean?
They're named Houston. I don't understand. Like,
Phi Slamma Jamma, baby. Put that on the football field. Do you think that Holgorsen can have that breakout year? Where at least like the narrative is like, okay, it's gonna work, you know?
I don't know. I mean, to me is question of, does he have a good quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Because is Derek King transferring back to Houston?
No.
If he has a good quarterback, then I think probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things where if you have a really good quarterback at the G5 level, that can fix so many problems for you, that can elevate you. And I don't know. It's just so hard to judge what Dana Holgorsen's team is because again, that first year was COVID. No, the first year was all those opt-outs, so they were redshirting everyone basically. Right. They're like, cool, we're kind of tanking, which does never make sense at the college level.
And it came back to bite them because De'Ara King transferred and a global pandemic hit.
Yeah, and then a pandemic hit, so there's absolutely no way to judge. We basically have never seen his squad at full.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to say because it hasn't been that good in the last 2 years, and the squad was never at full. So
no, it wasn't. And I think another interesting thing is that he's been very vocal in terms of like, we had to fix a lot of things when we got here. The weight room wasn't up to par. The players, the roster was in shambles. I had better player, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm starting to think, I think we should give him this year with complete unbiased,
he should get a chance for just a year of
a year. And I just want proof of concept. I just want things that are working, moving in the right direction. Maybe not a 10-win season, maybe not an 8-win season, but can you make a bowl game? Can
they be a middle of the pack team? Because they haven't even been that.
And can you be competitive against one of the upper echelon teams in your conference? Can you take UCF can it be a 1-possession game with 8 minutes left? Can you make Cincinnati get a little bit scared in their game? You know, because I think if that happens, then they'll be able to have that proof and they can move forward and they can invest the time and the resources and stuff and into that program rather than making Dana Holgorsen look like someone who's just kind of giving excuses and, you know, which I don't know if he is or isn't, but that's something that could be possible. So moving on, Tyler, to Conference USA. Let's start with my beloved FAU Owls. Will N'Kosi Perry, the former University of Miami quarterback, be enough for Willie Taggart and FAU to make some noise. Now FAU's not projected as the top team in the conference this season. They really haven't since Lane Kiffin left to Ole Miss. But is N'Kosi Perry's quarterback play enough to have FAU make a little bit of noise? And also, it's important to note, FAU, Florida's opening opponent in this coming football season. So of particular interest to both of us, not just because of my FAU fandom, but because of Florida, and they open the season with them. So yeah. What do you think? What do you think about N'Kosi Perry and FAU?
I'll ask that question with another. I will answer that question with another one. What to you is making noise? Just to clarify how I should answer this question.
Making noise, and I'm going to get a text from Raul as he listens to this. I can already feel it. Making noise for FAU to me is 8 to 9 wins. At a minimum, legitimately competing for Conference USA East, because in the same division is Marshall, and Marshall is, I know they're going with a new coach this season, and we will get to that in a second. But I have a feeling they're going to be really good this year. They're definitely going to be well coached. That's what it is to me. Can they compete for their division title? 8 to 9 wins and a bowl game, obviously.
That I think is very doable.
Okay,
because I think N'Kosi Perry will be the most talented quarterback they've had in Willie Taggart's era, which is only 2 years
for sure.
But for a G5 team, a pretty good pickup. N'Kosi Perry.
I agree. I think it's a fantastic pickup.
I think he could probably do, because he struggled at Miami, but even then, he was able to move the ball at times.
And the struggle at Miami, I think, is relative. He couldn't go toe to toe with Trevor Lawrence. He couldn't go toe to toe with Sam Howell in the 1 year they matched up. He couldn't, you know what I mean? He couldn't.
And honestly, it's N'Kosi Perry wasn't even really the problem at any point.
No, he wasn't.
He didn't fix any problems, but he wasn't the problem.
Well, we talk about Miami a lot, where they're the fighting De'Aaron Kings right now. At least that's what we saw last year, and hopefully they're able to revamp their offense in a way that's more complete. But N'Kosi Perry is not as good as De'Aaron King, and that's why they improved.
But I think at FAU, N'Kosi Perry could be good. Agreed. I mean, the question is Willie Taggart good enough to do that with FAU? And I will also be getting a text from Raul now, because now he has my number. Is Willie Taggart good enough? Is FAU just a system that is able to overcome Willie Taggart's faults, which at this level aren't really that big of a deal?
Right.
That's the question. I think that's a very reasonable ask, because I think N'Kosi Perry is a big pickup for FAU.
Me too.
And I think makes it very possible. Would they beat Marshall? I don't know, because Marshall's typically very good.
Right. Marshall's very competitive. Marshall's a good football team, and I think that's a good transition to our next question. Will Charlie Huff succeed? Not succeed. He did succeed, but will he succeed at Marshall? And can the Saban assistants? I'm so sorry. I got a phone call there. Can the Saban assistants?
That's Raul right now calling you.
Raul, no, it's my other step parent, my stepmom Gabby, but so close. Can the Saban assistants build reputable programs at the G5 level? That's more of an overarching question.
Yeah.
But I want to use Charlie Huff as a caveat, as a conduit to that question. The most recent example was Lane Kiffin at FAU. 3 years, 2 massive winning seasons, 2 conference championships, had a down season in the second one, but was able to bounce back and rebuild it. Can the Saban assistants build those programs at the G5 level?
I think this is an interesting point, and I think yes, because now Lane Kiffin is the most unique of the Saban assistants. So in a lot of these Saban assistant talks, I kind of want to throw him out a little bit, because he's unlike pretty much any others, in personality and the way he got into that job. It is a blip on his resume, but most Saban assistants you meet, that's the crux of who they are, is they learned under Saban. And Lane Kiffin was who he was, and then got to get better under Saban.
I think there's a difference between Saban assistants and Saban rehab projects.
Yeah,
Kiffin is the most successful
is a
Saban
rehab product,
right?
And so we'll see. Charlie Huff is a Saban assistant, and But I actually think it'd be interesting because I think going the G5 level is probably the smartest move for this, because a lot of these guys have not been head coaches before, and you get to go to a program where you can instill that Saban ideals, learn how to be a head coach without the pressure of like a Power 5 job, SEC job on you, and also learn how to just be a head coach. And everything I've heard from Charlie Huff at Marshall has been really positive. So I'm very interested, and I think actually this could be a really good, because it also did seem like seemed like Charlie Huff wanted to go to Marshall.
Yes.
Marshall wanted him.
Yes.
And this is a place where like there is pressure there because Marshall is a proud kind of program in a way. But the eyes of the nation, if he has a bad season, no one outside of West Virginia is really grilling him.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
So I think this is a good place that Saban assistants should try to go grow at, because most of them try to take like the Auburn job.
The literal worst job that you could have if you are a former Saban assistant at Bama. Okay. Good call. I like that as well. I just think we see a lot of Saban assistants immediately they're poached for SEC jobs and ACC jobs, and that's great and that's wonderful. And if they get the opportunity, they should go, because as we've said before, generational wealth. But my big thing there is I don't know if they're going to be able to succeed right away. If they drop to the group of 5 level, I think that they're able to kind of work out their mistakes, work out their kinks, so then they can get to a point
learn how to be a head coach.
Exactly. Billy Napier is an example, former Saban assistant, went over to Louisiana, doing what he's doing there. And so it works there. Last question for Conference USA. Tyler, which of these two coaches will be at their programs longer? Is it Bill Clark at UAB or Will Healy at Charlotte?
Bill Clark, without a doubt. Bill Clark will be there till the day he dies.
Really? Because if I was looking for someone and my two options were those guys, I would pick Bill Clark.
I agree with you, but that's not what I think will happen. Because part of it is that like I'm shocked Bill Clark hasn't been looked at for more jobs.
The man literally revived UAB. For those who don't remember, UAB had their program shut down because of Alabama politics, but that's another story for another time. But they had to bring back the UAB program from the dead, like after 3-4 years of not playing football. And the man immediately had them contending for conference championships. He is a master coach and deserves to be at not that UAB is not good enough. I think that, me,
he deserves his chance at a bigger job.
I think he deserves his chance at a bigger job rather than retreading some older coaches and other people. I think he can do well at places. I mean, right now I have the rerun of Nebraska, Illinois on the television. So, but no. But like, and Illinois just hired Brett Bielema, and I think that situation will work for them.
One game in,
right? But Bill Clark would do well at Illinois. Nebraska, there may be an opening this offseason. He would do well in Nebraska. He can coach players that are under-recruited.
I think that I agree with every single thing you're saying.
Sorry, I get really passionate. I love Bill Clark.
I love Bill Clark
I think he's
so
fantastic.
much. I think, honestly, if I would go back in time, as much as I loved Mike Leach getting hired at Mississippi State, my choice for that job would have been Bill Clark.
Bill Clark would be fantastic in Starkville.
But I'm talking more about will the powers that be let that happen? And will Bill Clark, I don't know if Bill Clark wants to leave is the thing.
That's true.
If you wave enough dollar signs at him, I'm sure he would. But is Bill Clark trying to get out of UAB?
No. There's no reports, none of that.
Will Healy is trying.
Yes.
It's not a bad thing. Will Healy is trying to put in a bunch of good years at Charlotte. He's doing a great job. He did a great job at Ospey. He's doing a great job at Charlotte. And he is absolutely trying to get to the next big job when that time is right.
Yes,
but Will Healy is going to be a very good ACC coach, in my opinion.
I agree. Will Healy will take. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Will Healy will be fantastic in Blacksburg, Virginia.
Oh, I like that. I was going to say when Mac Brown retires again.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
If it lines up, him going to North Carolina is probably the best thing that could happen to him.
Absolutely. But
Blacksburg, Virginia would be great.
That might be open this offseason, which is why I said that.
If Dabo actually, which he totally won't, because this is not a real thing that he believes in, it's just like, well, I'll go coach professional football because that's no, he just says
Tyler,
that.
he doesn't like players getting paid. Remember, he doesn't like that.
Yeah, which is why it's like people are like, well, he's just gonna quit. I'm like, no, he won't. No, he won't. Like.
So
you do not
Will
quit
Healy,
that job.
No.
But Will Healy, if that were to happen, Will Healy should absolutely be. he should be on the list for the Clemson job, but he wouldn't get it because there's so many other previous Clemson assistants that are more qualified.
Right. So you think Will Healy is the one that's going to move on to
he's the young up and comer. So
I like it.
I think Bill Clark should be looked at before Will Healy. I like both of these coaches, but Will Healy fits the profile of somebody that athletic directors are going to want.
Correct. I like that. Okay.
Because a lot of athletic directors try to make splashy hires, which is not what they should do, but that's what they end up doing. And Will Healy is a great splashy hire, but
I know a lot of people don't watch Conference USA. It's probably the worst of the 10 conferences. But I think there's some fun stuff to go there. So if you come across a Conference USA game, we didn't even talk about UTSA, a young up and coming team with their coach. Their coach is literally building. I forget his name, but he was a former high school coach in Texas, and he's literally doing the Schnellenberger thing of like state of Miami, like literally the state of Texas. He's just focusing on that. You got the young up and comer Will Healy at Charlotte. You got Bill Clark, all reliable. The situation with FAU. You got Marshall with a new coach. It's a fun conference. If you get a chance to watch it. It's enjoyable. It'll be cool. Tyler, we're spending a minute on this question. A minute. I refuse.
Okay.
Yes, I'm biased. This is the independent section of the podcast. Tyler, will Jack Cohn be enough to get Notre Dame back to the playoff? Your time starts now.
No.
Your time has ended. Excellent. Thank you so much. No, dude, listen. Let me put this nicely, Notre Dame fans. Let me say this. Notre Dame it's a depleted.
What kind of question is that?
I don't know.
No, I love it.
It's a depleted defense because they had a lot to go to the NFL, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad defense.
No.
Depleted does not mean bad. They definitely are a program that retools and does not reload. Okay. And oh my gosh, they just showed the worst winning percentage in Nebraska head coaching history, and Scott Frost is the second worst. That is, oh my God. Sorry.
Focus.
Distracted. Dude, 375 win percentage. Anyway, the Notre Dame defense is good, and I think that they're going to be better than people expect. They have their first game against Florida State this coming week, and we expect them to win that game. But I just don't think that, as much as people rat on the library Ian Book, I don't think that Jack Cohn is an improvement. I think Ian Book was a fantastic college quarterback. Like, super dependable.
Jack Cohn is in no way an improvement over Ian Book.
Not at all. If Jack Cohn was what people think he can be at Notre Dame, he would have stayed at Wisconsin, guys.
Why would he have left Wisconsin? He would never lost his job.
Yeah, he would never have lost his job. I just don't see it with Jack Cohn. And like you say before, excuse me, sneeze. Like you said before, Tyler, a good quarterback in college football will make up for a lot of things. But I'd like to add to that, where a bad quarterback will expose. Excuse me, podcasting live, love it. A bad quarterback will expose things of a team, and I think that this is going to be a step backwards for Notre Dame. I know their schedule is relatively easy, but I just don't think
it starts off with a real cakewalk. That's an FSU joke. In case
that is an FSU joke.
Cared to
I feel bad kicking people, not while they're down, but like while they're knee deep in mud. Like
they
I really
kicked us when we were down.
When they go low, we go high, Tyler. Because from above, you can stomp on them better.
What a Steve Spurrier would totally agree with you.
You didn't hear the second part of what I said, because when you're higher up, you can stomp on them easier.
Okay,
come on, that was a Spurrier thing. Come on. My 96 Fun and Gun t-shirt is here somewhere, all right?
Mine's still coming, so.
Tyler, who wins this year, Army or Navy?
Army.
Okay. We'll revisit that at the end of the season.
Oh, yeah,
if a tiebreaker is needed,
it's
for
always
2 points.
Army Navy.
Always Army Navy. Tyler, we have one question for the MAC. Why should we watch MACtion this year?
You know exactly what you're going to get no matter what game or team it is, because all the MAC teams are the same. Every MAC team is exactly the same.
Yes, they are. If you are like me and you allegedly partake in some betting of sports, legally, of course, legally, I would never advocate for illegal sports betting. Please. I live with a police officer now. Come on, please, guys. Tuesday nights are fun. Let me put it that way. Tuesday nights are fun. if I can give you one rule of thumb, as Tyler barrels over laughing,
I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
if you can have two rules, I'll give you two rules. Bet on Toledo
Always.
and fade Akron.
Oh, Akron's terrible.
Listen, all the MAC teams are the same, but like sexuality is a spectrum, right? Well, the MAC is a spectrum. The top end of the spectrum is your Toledo, your really good football team. Your low end of the spectrum is your Akron, your horrendous football team.
They all play the exact same type and style of football. It's just that one of them does it good, one of them does it really bad, and everybody else is just kind of somewhere in the middle.
And for those two, they wear similar uniforms. So there you go. Also, Bowling Green, fade them as well. Horrific.
Yeah, they suck.
Tyler, two quick questions on the Mountain West. Is Carson Strong this year's Zach Wilson?
No.
Okay. Do you want a clarification as to what I meant?
Yes.
Is this the quarterback?
What does that mean to you? Yeah.
What it means to me is a quarterback that everyone knows, that the NFL, we're going to get text messages from some of our NFL exclusive friends around week 6, just a random Nevada game footage, and go, did you see this read Carson Strong made? Did you see how look at the command in the pocket? We're gonna get those kind of statements. The command in the pocket, the Heisman hopeful. He's not Mormon. No, Carson Strong is not a Mormon.
Okay, so I had to ask.
You have to ask.
Freaking Idaho. Oof.
I know, right? So do you think that he's this year's Zach Wilson, that draft darling that's going to emerge halfway through the season? And granted, BYU went undefeated because of their weird schedule last season up until the Coastal game. But Nevada has a pretty good team. They got a good running game. They got a couple good wide receivers. Carson Strong is clearly a draft prospect. So what do you think?
Unlikely, because Nevada is less high profile than BYU.
Okay.
I think from a production standpoint, it could absolutely be there. But Zach Wilson, despite ever being like he came out of nowhere, Zach Wilson had been the quarterback the year before. Like
that's true. That's true.
People did. College football fans didn't know about him, and BYU is a bigger team. So I don't know. From a production standpoint, yeah, I could see it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But I don't know if I would bet on that.
Okay. Makes sense. How will Boise State look after Brian Harsin's departure? Which, probably, by the way,
exactly the same.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say that they kind of look pretty good, because after what Brian Harsin has been doing in terms of the coronavirus and his preparation down in Auburn, it
probably wasn't actually the worst thing in the world that happened to them.
Might not have been the worst thing in the world. Why do you think they'll be the exact same?
Because it's Boise. Like,
they do run a really similar
Boise's
system.
A system. Like, and that's true until it's just not. But like that, my understanding of Boise is that like there's Chris Peterson, did that forever. Then Brian Harsin comes in and does it pretty much the exact same way. Now Boise has been running into this problem for a long time where they're always good, but they've stopped being great as much. Like, when was the last time Boise was the best Group of 5 team that year?
I'd probably say like
been a long time.
2012, 2013.
They're always top 5.
Yeah.
But when was the last time they were number 1?
Yeah. 12, 13, I think maybe.
I think it's probably going to be the same thing, where it's like they're probably going to be one of, if not the best team in the Mountain West. They're probably going to be great. They're going to have all the talent in the world. They're a system. Kids want to go there. Like, recruiting, and like, unless the new coach is just terrible, recruiting's going to be fine. They're going to be able to win the same way. It remains to be seen.
There we go.
If their new coach can elevate them past what Brian Harsin got them to, or if even get them to the Brian Harsin level, which was always very competitive. That they've got good players. Hank Bachmeier is a good quarterback. Like,
that was my question. Do you think Hank Bachmeier is going to be enough to kind of keep that train rolling the same way?
I don't think he's anything special, but I think with all of the other players too, they're going to be largely probably the same team they were last year.
Okay, makes sense.
So I don't think they'll tank, if that makes any difference.
Okay. But it doesn't make a difference, but I understand where you're coming from, and I would tend to agree, but I also feel like they have an opportunity to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Their identity has always been offense. Maybe they can kind of pivot to some kind of defensive identity. There's talks about potential expansion, I should say. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, who knows. But I have to agree with you. This coming season, I think they'll look very, very, very similar. So
Yeah.
All right. Our last conference, the Sun Belt. 3 questions.
Fun Belt.
Fun Belt, baby. What will it take for Billy Napier to leave Louisville? I'm not asking where he's going to go or all this stuff. We've gotten to a point where the man is just...
He's turned down jobs.
He is turned down, by my account, either officially or unofficially turned down, 7 SEC jobs. We talk all about like generational wealth, that these teams have contacted him and he has either said, I'm good, and hasn't interviewed, or he's interviewed and then decided, I don't want to take it.
I'll tell you exactly what it's going to take. It's going to take Ed Orgeron getting fired.
So you think he's holding out for LSU?
I do. At this point, I do. Because what other reason? Like, none of the highest... Well, yeah. What other reason do you have to hold out at Louisiana? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, you've been offered South Carolina. You've been offered Tennessee, which Tennessee's not very good, so I get that. But, like, but it's still Tennessee. It's still South Carolina. These are SEC jobs. These are paycheck jobs.
Right.
But, hell, you were offered Auburn.
Yeah.
And Auburn's a job that's... Like, South Carolina is the job where you go... You're probably not going to last super long because it's hard to win like consistently there.
But you will be rich.
Really ever done it? Like, and
you will be rich.
You'll be rich afterwards. But then beyond that, there's the whole like Tennessee's job you have to build back. But Auburn's a job you can win a national title at like tomorrow. Like you can win a national in like 2 years, and you turned that down. So like, what the hell are you waiting for?
3, 2, 1, go.
South Carolina is the type of job where you take it, you're rich. Like, you're only going to be working there for probably about 5 years. It's very hard to win there. Spurrier's the only one who's ever truly done it.
And that's because he's Spurrier?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I would say Billy Napier's Steve Spurrier. So,
right.
But then Tennessee's a job that has hit national acclaim before. You'd have to rebuild some of it. But you got offered the Auburn job. You can win a national title at Auburn in like 2 years with a good team.
Yeah, like, there's a blueprint.
And all these coaches believe they're hot S word. Like,
Thank you for not cursing.
Yeah, thanks. But all of these coaches believe they're the best thing since, sliced bread. So like that, and you need to kind of have that to be a good college football coach. You have to have that confidence in yourself. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's part of a lot of issues with people taking jobs they maybe shouldn't. But you got offered the Auburn job. So what other reason do you have for continuing to stay at Louisiana? Then you're waiting for an even bigger job than the Auburn job, which in the SEC is like Georgia, Florida, LSU, Alabama.
Auburn.
And that, well, like, I'm just, those 4 are better than Auburn. Like,
oh, yes.
Are in the realm of, like, Alabama, LSU, Florida, and Georgia, the only ones that are, I'm like, first. A&M. Debatable, but yes.
Debatable.
A&M is with Auburn right now. I haven't seen enough out of A&M at any point to be like, yes, it has all the ingredients to be better than Auburn, but it's never been better than Auburn. Like, it's my thing.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
I get it.
Those are the jobs he hasn't gotten offered yet. And like you turned down Auburn, so you're waiting for that, or you're waiting for Dabo to leave Clemson, which will probably not happen.
It seems like he's fishing for the big fish. He's not content getting something that's medium sized. That's still great, it's still a fantastic job to take as a
and in
coach,
fairness,
but,
in fairness, he's going to have a really good team this year, and he probably knew that. Like, so what would you rather bet on? You're going to have a good team, and there's a possibility Ed Orgeron gets fired. I mean, I feel like this is his last year at Louisiana, regardless.
Oh, that's a take for another day, but
well, I just because if you're good this year and you don't get those 4 jobs that you want, what are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to take a job at that point. But then again, the SEC replaced like most of its coaches. So what school is there to give you a job? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like he turned down those schools knowing that they were not going to be an option in the future. So
Nick Saban's not retiring. Kirby Smart's not going anywhere. It's very unlikely Dan Mullen goes anywhere. Right. And Ed Orgeron's the only one and Jimbo's not going anywhere. So Ed Orgeron's the only one if he has another terrible year, which he probably won't.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I just
he's playing a dangerous game. I think he should have taken the Auburn job.
Oh boy. Okay. We got to move on.
I'm sorry.
I'm with you.
I'm thinking a lot of things about this.
All right. Can Coastal run it back and win the conference?
Absolutely.
Why?
They got Grayson McCall. They got all the ingredients. They
run the best, like
coolest offense.
The best, like it is an NCAA 14. It is a college football revamped offense.
Full custom offense build.
Full.
So you got probably one more year before everybody starts to really get onto you about that. Like, because it's one of those things where like now people probably understand how to defend them slightly, but knowing how and being able to do it is still different because they have the same system. People will probably understand the system more. They still have Grayson McCall and all those players. Like those players are still really good. So like you can know how to defend a corner out, but like when the quarterback throws it to the perfect spot, what are you going to do about it? Like, there was a whole thing with Trevor Lawrence in his national title winning game where it's just like Alabama can play the perfect defense, but when you put the ball in the right spot, there's nothing you can do. And so that's the part where good players come in, and Coastal still has their core of good players, in my opinion. So Coastal will still be good. Don't think they'll be as special as they were last season because it's hard to repeat that. But I think they can absolutely win their conference.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're the front runners. We did not get to see the conference championship game last year. That would have been with Louisiana and Coastal, but I think that
I'm forever robbed.
But given we can see it this year. So
hopefully,
I'm very happy. Last question, Tyler. The spoiler to that party: can Sean Clark and App State overthrow Coastal in their division?
Absolutely. I think it's a 3-team race to the conference championship. It's Louisiana, it's App State, and it's Coastal Carolina.
So it's Louisiana in the West.
Until I have a reason to, I will never take App State out of these conversations.
I agree. I think so. It's going to be Louisiana in the West, and then in the East, you have Coastal and App State kind of fighting it out. Okay.
Yeah. App State is always a threat.
I agree.
And until they prove to me that they're not, they're always a threat in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, Tyler, that was our Group of 5 preview. I know it was a bit shorter than the Power 5 preview, but it's not as much in terms of storylines, but I think we got the big and important ones out there. There's a lot of fun Group of 5 content and storylines, ladies and gentlemen. It is not just contrary to what the SEC wants you to believe, there is more to college football than just the Power 5 and specifically the Southeastern Conference. Then we say this as alumnus of the University of Florida, as Gator fans.
As proud alumnus.
Very proud. Some of us have Gator license plates now, Tyler. But there's so much good story and talent and entertainment out there across college football. So I highly recommend you watch. I highly recommend you take a look. Tyler, our next episode is dropping later this week. We are going to be previewing week 1, Tyler.
Yeah.
We did not do a
week 0.
Week 0, thank you. A week 0 episode, and that's okay. There wasn't much. We will talk about the week 0 games, couple of the games at the top of the next episode, and we will be launching and previewing week 1 with 5 wide and 2 points. Tyler,
heck yes.
All that being said, I think it's time to wrap this bad boy up. I got to get some editing in so we can upload this ASAP. This has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are not biased, but welcome back, college football.
Yes, sir.